The tribal chief just sent a message that shook the entire WWE universe, and his own family is in the crosshairs. What's up, Suplex Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we break down the most intense moments, the biggest storylines, and the drama that makes professional wrestling absolutely unmissable. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because what we're covering today is massive, and you don't want to miss a single development in this unfolding family saga. The Usos just made history on Monday Night Raw by capturing their 9th Tag Team Championship, a record-breaking achievement that should have been a moment of pure celebration. But instead of congratulations, Roman Reigns delivered a warning so chilling, so intense, that it has everyone wondering, is the bloodline about to implode? So let's break down exactly what happened, analyze the tension that's been building, and discuss where this explosive storyline is headed. This is getting good, people. Let's start with the achievement itself, because what the Usos accomplished on Raw is absolutely legendary. Jimmy and Uso stepped into that ring and delivered a performance that reminded everyone why they're considered one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history. The chemistry, the athleticism, the coordination, everything was firing on all cylinders. When that referee's hand hit the mat for the 3 count and the Usos captured their 9th Tag Team Championship, they didn't just win a match, they made history. 9-time champions. That's a record that puts them in an elite category, cementing their legacy as all-time greats. Think about what it takes to reach that level. Years of dedication, countless matches, adapting through different eras of WWE, and constantly evolving to stay relevant. The Usos have done it all, and this 9th championship is the ultimate validation of their incredible careers. The crowd on Raw erupted in celebration. These fans have watched the Usos' journey from the beginning, the ups, the downs, the character transformations. Seeing them reach this milestone was genuinely special, and you could feel the emotional weight of the moment. But here's where things get interesting. In most circumstances, when family members achieve something monumental in WWE, especially members of the legendary bloodline, you'd expect unity and celebration. You'd expect Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and their cousin to acknowledge their accomplishment with pride. That's not what happened. Instead, what we got was something much more complex, unsettling, and potentially explosive. The seeds of discord that have been planted throughout this bloodline storyline are beginning to sprout, and the implications are massive. The Usos stood in that ring as champions, having just accomplished something incredible, but the look on their faces told a different story. There was triumph, yes, but there was also something else: uncertainty, tension, and perhaps even fear about what comes next. Now let's talk about what happened after the match, because this is where things got intense. Roman Reigns appeared, and the atmosphere immediately changed. The tribal chief has this presence that's undeniable. When he shows up, everything and everyone stops to pay attention. The authority, the intensity, the commanding aura, it's what makes him one of the most compelling characters in modern WWE. But instead of the congratulations the Usos might have expected, instead of the celebration of their historic achievement, Roman delivered something completely different. A warning. And not just any warning, a chilling, calculated message that made it clear their success comes with expectations. The essence of Roman's message was this: the Usos didn't win the championship for themselves. They won it for the bloodline. They won it for him. And with that 9th championship comes an obligation to remain loyal, to continue serving the family, and most importantly, to never forget who's in charge. The way Roman delivered this warning was masterful. This wasn't shouting or obvious threats. This was cold, controlled, and far more menacing because of it. The quiet intensity, the carefully chosen words, the body language, everything communicated that this was serious. You could see it in the Usos' faces. Jimmy and G have been with Roman through everything. They've been the enforcers, the loyal soldiers, the ones who helped the tribal chief maintain his dominance. But in this moment, you could sense the internal conflict. Roman essentially told them, your achievement is my achievement. Your championship belongs to the bloodline. And if you ever forget that, if you ever think about putting yourselves above the family, there will be consequences. This is psychological warfare at its finest. Roman is reminding them that their success is tied to him, that their position in WWE is because of the bloodline, and that stepping out of line even as 9-time champions won't be tolerated. The power dynamics were on full display. Here are the Usos, having just made history, and yet they're standing there being told that it's not really their moment. It belongs to Roman. It belongs to the family. And they need to remember their place. What made this even more chilling was the underlying threat. Roman didn't have to explicitly say what would happen if they disobeyed. The implication was clear. We've seen what Roman does to people who cross him, and the fact that the Usos or family won't protect them if they step out of line. To fully understand the weight of this moment, we need to talk about the complex family dynamics that have been building throughout this entire bloodline storyline. The bloodline isn't just a faction, it's a representation of real family legacy. The Anoa'i family is wrestling royalty, with a history that spans generations. Roman, the Usos, The Rock, Rikishi, Yokozuna. This family tree is filled with legends who helped shape professional wrestling. But Roman has taken that legacy and twisted it into something different. He's positioned himself as the tribal chief, the head of the table, the one who makes all decisions. And everyone else in the family? They're expected to fall in line. This creates an incredibly complex dynamic. On one hand, there's genuine family love and respect. These men grew up together, trained together, and built careers together. The bond is real. But on the other hand, Roman has created a hierarchy where loyalty to him supersedes everything else. Jimmy and Uso have been caught in this tension for a long time. They've benefited from being part of the bloodline, the championship opportunities, the main event positions, the spotlight. But that success has come at a cost: their autonomy, their individual identities, and their ability to make their own decisions. We've seen glimpses of this internal struggle before. Moments where the Usos looked uncomfortable with Roman's methods. Times when you could see doubt creeping in. Questions about whether being part of the bloodline is worth sacrificing their independence. Roman's warning after their 9th championship win brings all of this to the surface. It's a reminder that in his eyes, they're not equals, they're subordinates. They're not partners, they're soldiers. And their historic achievement doesn't change that fundamental power structure. What makes this so compelling from a storytelling perspective is that everyone can understand these dynamics. Family relationships are complicated. The pressure to meet family expectations, the struggle between loyalty and independence, the difficulty of establishing your own identity when you're part of a powerful family unit. These are universal themes that resonate with audiences. The Usos are at a crossroads. They've just achieved something incredible that, in any other circumstance, would be celebrated without conditions. But Roman's warning makes it clear: in the bloodline, nothing comes without strings attached. Every success, every opportunity, every moment in the spotlight, it all comes with the expectation of absolute loyalty to the tribal chief. Let's talk about what this warning could mean for the future, because WWE is clearly building towards something major. The storytelling here is incredibly layered. This isn't just about one warning on one episode of Raw. This is the culmination of months, maybe even years of tension that's been simmering beneath the surface. And every great wrestling storyline needs conflict that builds to an explosive payoff. There are several possible directions this could go, and each one is fascinating. Scenario 1: the Usos' breaking point. How much longer can they accept being treated as subordinates rather than equals? Their 9th championship could be the moment they finally realize they don't need Roman to be successful. They've proven they're all-time greats on their own merit. This could be the beginning of their emancipation from the tribal chief's control. Scenario 2: increased control and paranoia from Roman. Success breeds paranoia in dictators, and Roman is essentially operating as a dictator within the bloodline. The more successful the Usos become, the more threatened Roman might feel. His warning could be the first of many increasingly controlling behaviors that push his family away. Scenario 3: a family explosion. The bloodline has been one of WWE's most dominant factions in history. But every great faction eventually implodes, and when families turn on each other in wrestling, it creates some of the most emotionally charged storylines possible. This warning could be the first domino falling toward an all-out civil war. Scenario 4: external pressures. Other superstars and factions might see this tension as an opportunity. If the bloodline is showing cracks, competitors will look to exploit those weaknesses. This could force the Usos to choose between family loyalty and their own survival. The body language and facial expressions during this segment told us so much. The Usos weren't celebrating, they were processing. You could see the wheels turning. You could sense the questions they were asking themselves. WWE's creative team deserves credit for this storytelling. They're not rushing it. They're allowing the tension to build naturally, giving us moments like this warning that add layers to the narrative without immediately paying it off. That patience creates better long-term storytelling. Let's not lose sight of what sparked all of this: the Usos becoming 9-time tag team champions. This achievement deserves its own spotlight because it's genuinely historic. In the world of tag team wrestling, longevity and consistency are incredibly difficult to maintain. Tag team divisions are competitive, partners can split, injuries happen, and staying relevant for years requires constant evolution. The Usos have navigated all of these challenges and emerged as the most decorated tag team in WWE history. Their 9 championship reigns span different eras of WWE. They've competed against incredible teams: The New Day, The Street Profits, RK-Bro, and countless others. They've proven they can adapt to different styles, different opponents, and different storytelling approaches. What makes this achievement even more impressive is how they've evolved as performers. Early in their careers, the Usos were talented but hadn't found their voice. Over time, they developed one of the most compelling characters in WWE, became elite promos, and refined their in-ring work to an art form. This 9th championship should be celebrated as one of the great accomplishments in tag team wrestling history. The fact that Roman's warning has overshadowed it speaks to the power of the bloodline storyline, but it shouldn't diminish